Alright guys, we're shooting a video here at a job site, and I'm going to give you a little test. If you look at this 8-foot ceiling, and you look at that front frame, can you see a problem that might come up? And for the trained viewer, what you're going to say is, Howie, would you ever build a cabinet that's 92 inches tall, or 94 inches tall, on a 96-inch ceiling, and then stand it up? You can't. In the case of tall cabinets, like the utility cabinets and those things, we have a removable toe box option, which allows the cabinet to be built, then stood up, push the cabinet to the ceiling, and slide the removable toe box underneath it. Works great, but in the case of a refrigerator cabinet where the side panels go all the way to the floor and there is no removable toe, you have to build the cabinet upright if you're doing a ceiling where the cabinet is only 2 or 3 inches less than the ceiling height. Now your litmus test is really the cabinet needs to be about 4 to 6 inches less than the ceiling height in order for it to stand up. The deeper the cabinet, if you were doing this as a 30-inch refrigerator cabinet, it still wouldn't stand up. You've got to be more like 6 or 7 inches shorter. So talk to your salesperson if you're concerned about this, but you don't want to build the cabinets on the ground and then lean it up and go, oh no, what do I do now? What we're going to do in this video is show you what the concept is of assembling a cabinet vertically, which does come up periodically, and you want to kind of catch it before you get to that stage of saying, oh my, I already built my cabinet, now I can't get it apart. So what we're going to do, I need a couple set of hands for this. So I'm going to bring on screen Mark Binger, who is our assembler and installer, if any of you have taken advantage of our local services in the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania market. Mark is our installer and assembler who will be doing your kitchen. Been doing this for a long time, pretty much dedicated or devoted to our Conestoga cabinets at this point. Really knowledgeable guy, so he's going to help me walk through this. Now what you'll see is we've taken a padded surface. You can use the foam that comes with the cabinets. You can use cardboard, whatever you want. Just don't put it against your painted wall. We've just padded the surface with this half-inch piece of cardboard that came in some packing. And you're going to put your front frame against the wall. And if you need to tape it, you can tape it, but it's got to sit tight to the wall. And you want to have a second set of hands like Mark is doing. He's going to hold that frame there. And now all your gluing takes place upright. So I have to start up here and run the glue down on both sides, and then we're going to push those panels into the cabinet wall. So I'm going to go off screen and do some gluing. We'll come back in a moment and show you how those panels push in. All right, we're back, and what we've done is we laid the frame back down and ran some glue on our dados to receive the cabinet size. One other thing we did, thanks to Mark's presence of mind, again, we have a very short space between the ceiling and the top of the cabinet. So Mark was thinking, hey, we need to have a nailer strip for the crown molding. We get this question a lot from folks on full overlay doors where you haven't really got a lot of cabinet meat on the front frame or the cabinet side when you're running your crown right to the ceiling and it's just lapping over the cabinet by 1/4 of an inch. So Mark ripped down some just pine strips. You're not going to see it, nothing critical. So he ripped down some strips and tacked one to the top of the frame and one to our right cabinet side, because again, we're building this in and we're going to flip it around. So this is our finished right end, and we needed to have something to nail the crown to there. On the left side, it's going to tie into the wall cabinet next to it, so it wasn't critical. So just think through some of those steps and try to take care of them before you get the cabinet standing up and installed, because it's very difficult to clamp that and come up in this way after the fact. So just a little freebie for you. Okay. So we're building this thing into the wall. Mark's going to hold the frame. I'm going to take the left side, cabinet side here. It's actually the right side when we actually spin it around. And we're just going to line it up like you normally would. Mark, if I let go of that frame now. This is why you got to have a second set of hands. Because if you don't, you're going to fight this tooth and nail. Got the mallet right here, Mark. You got the bell? Got it. And you're just going to love tap cabinet side in until it is fully contacted, and I think we are. Now we're going to do the same thing with the other side. These dead blow hammers are phenomenal. Mark almost saw how phenomenal they were. Get them in the hand. Okay, so we've got our cabinet sides in. Now, one thing I did off camera before we started the assembly is I took the top and bottom panels, which have dovetails on them, clean those dovetails up with some sandpaper before you start the assembly. The reason is when you're doing these cabinets on the floor, you can put your weight onto that panel and push it down. When you're trying to do it this way, you've got no leverage, and so these are fighting you because the dovetails are tight. or swollen or full of sawdust, makes it really hard to get the cabinet together. So sand down your dovetails as best you can before the assembly. So we're going to grab top and bottom panel. We're going to grab our glue bottle, and we're just going to do what you normally would. We're going to glue halfway down our slots for our dovetails. But again, the halfway is so that the dovetail will spread the glue the rest of the way and you won't have a gluey mess running out everywhere. Okay, start with the top part, doesn't matter which one. We're going to do finish side in with the splines forward. And this is where a step ladder or being 6'5" like I am can really come in handy. Alright, sliding in, not bad. You won't have that much luck sometimes. Mallet mark. And now we're just going to love tap this into place. You can't see on camera what I'm seeing, but my goal is to try to get there to be no gap where that top touches the front frame. Okay, we're going to do the same thing here. This one's lower, so you shouldn't have to fight it quite as much. We're going to get a kind of even pressure. That one went in kind of nice too. Okay, so we're in everywhere. I'm just going to go through and make sure we have good contact with our cabinet sides. So now, just like the normal assembly, it's easier to glue the dado here than the actual back of the top and bottom. So I'm just going to glue the dado. And we are going to put this thing on. There, Mark. Okay, so we have good contact. Mark's going to go along and pin the top and the bottom in. There's the top one. Now, one thing I did not mention, it's kind of critical with refrigerator cabinets, whether they're being built upright or down, is you want to make sure you put the shelf inside the cabinet before you put the back on. I just realized we didn't do that, so you just learned from a mistake we just made. You can't get the shelf through the front of the cabinet when there's an upright divider, so make sure you pass that shelf through before you put that back on. We're going to go off camera and button this up, put our pins in here. And then we're just going to spin the cabinet around and show you the final assembly before we put it to the wall. But that pretty much wraps up the assembly of an upright cabinet. This can be done whether it's a refrigerator, a tall pantry cabinet that doesn't have the removable toe box. Pretty much any cabinet could be done this way. Alright, so after a little fuss and muss, Mark and I have this cabinet built. We spun it around to show you how it'll be installed. A couple little tidbits for you here. Tidbit 1, make sure you take your mallet and reconfirm your front frame is mounted, because in all the jostling around, sometimes the frame will work itself off the cabinet sides. So this is a good time to go back with the back against the wall and just tap your front frame on. Second point, the cabinets come with this strip mounted at the bottom of the front frame to keep the legs from breaking and shipping. And this strip has these two tacks in either end where they've tacked this down low to the bottom of the front frame. If you don't, it's down here. And it just keeps the legs from flexing in and out. If you pull this strip off and these tacks stay in, and you stand this front frame up and you're moving it around on your finished floor, those tacks will gouge the heck out of your floor. When you remove this tack strip, make sure there's no more tacks protruding from the bottom of your front frame legs. Very, very, very important. We've learned the hard way. The last point I want to make is on shelves. This cabinet we're going to be okay on, but depending on your cabinet box height, you can run into a situation where, say we were doing an 84-inch shorter refrigerator cabinet, the opening here would not allow an 18-inch deep shelf to pass through it. So you would have to actually put the shelf inside the cabinet when it was in its reversed phase and before we put the back on, to slide the shelf in, then put the back on. This one's going to go in okay because the cabinet's tall enough that our 18-inch deep shelf will slide in and we're okay, all right? But in some cases, we have found through the hard way, we turn the cabinet around, go to put our shelf in on an 84 or 90-inch high cabinet, and the shelf is too tall and it will not go through that opening. So if you have the presence of mind to do so, it's actually easier. Always throw your shelf in through the cabinet back before you fasten the back on. So if you have any questions at all, give us a call, 888-211-6482. And as usual, thanks for watching.